Ravens lining up and handling business. And speaking of which, speaking of commerce, as relates to football, that man Derrick Henry. Woo! Josh Allen down the field. He's going. Ooh, PI. So Ravens with a 2-score lead, but it's gonna be first and goal for the Bills, the Billy Bills. And so, hey, hope everybody out there is doing okay. Hope you've had a good weekend as we get ready, right? Another work week. Get it going on. Busy day. NFL first weekend. So a lot to discuss. Yes, we will be going over what happened in New England. Yes. Okay, Miami Mike. You see I got my bling bling. Okay? You know, I know when I bling. All right, I got my bling. Hand me down, of course. You know what I mean? It's my hand. You know, I call it like it is. You know what I mean? But my man, Miami Mike. That's my guy, Miami Mike. Heck is going on? Josh Allen on the goal line. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on? We have to discuss. Chris, welcome. I reached out to my brother. I reached out to Mr. Dad. So he got the invite. Let me just double check. Sometimes, I hit him up. So he'll hit me back into the, depending. But we're going to talk football. Game that we have going on. But we have to understand what happened with the Patriots. We're in the Commonwealth. We have to break that down. Not that I'm some type of soothsayer. I'm just a regular guy, particularly when it comes to basketball. When it comes to football, I'm not going to say that but I love sports. Okay, Bills punch it in. Bills punch that bad boy in. And yeah. So we're going to discuss that. Let me go ahead and let me check the socials. Go ahead and do that. All right, we good over there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good over here. Let me just boop. Let me just come over here right quick. Boom. It's good. And we're gonna get to the intro. We're gonna rock and roll in a second. Gonna get to the intro and rock and roll. Couple things. Come on now. Boop. Are you kidding? There we go. All right, because I want to put. Yeah, hold on. I gotta listen. We're not raining on anybody's parade here, but just breaking it down, having conversation, being objective. All right, so we're gonna dive into the Patriots, most definitely. But first of all, we got to get our energy right. We have to get the mindset and the energy right. Production issues, folks. We're done with that now. Yes, indeed. Welcome to SandCity Sports. To the business. I am your host, Kid Cocky, artist from the Run that back. We got the production in order. Remember when you was just out there on your own? Board? That's all you need. You that day. You gonna go out there and hoop, whether there was 5, 10, or nobody. You're gonna get your game right. That was gonna help you. That was gonna make you Yes, sir. Yes, sir. SandCity in the building. Okay. Them Bills, man. Them boys from below. Them boys from below. Yeah. Miami is on notice. Miami is certainly on notice. It was beyond not looking good. Okay. How you get mollywopped by the Colts? How do you let Danny Dimes embarrass you? What's going on here? It's beyond not looking good. It's been clear that Miami, right? We got the scenery here. Beautiful beach, sunshine, right? Might as well be South Beach. Everybody knows it's a sprint in the AFC. You're going to have Pro Bowl players and talented rosters sitting home in the lottery in the AFC. Okay? Bill Belichick, he's beefing with the Patriots. Side story, but he's beefing right now. Beefing with a lot of people, but okay? Talking about do your job. You got to beat those cupcakes on your schedule. The Colts are not going to the playoffs, right? Matter of fact, the Colts are, as far as, they're in the march for Arch, which might not be the same as it was because of how he played against Ohio State. I'm not running away from that take. I'm Team Arch. I'm Team Manning. Bullish on Arch and his prospects. And he went out and laid an egg, a dud. Similar. You're too kind, Chris. You're too kind. Okay? Respect, condolences. Irsay's passing, new leadership. So we have that, and we recognize. We want to be empathetic. We want to be people whose humanity comes first, 100%. But once, right, we do that before the game. When the game starts, we're about that life. It's time for business. All right, there ain't no messing around. Okay, in terms of the NFL and why it's the most profitable, you only have 17 games for the journey. So you've been building up for this since the end of the last journey. Yes, teams can get hot early and all the rest of that stuff, but for me, it's not that you lose, it's how you lose. Okay, we're gonna speak. Chris is already bringing the storylines into the building. People out there in television land, come on ahead and rock with your boy. Mi casa, su casa. You know what it is. But it's not that you lose, it's how you lose. And to go out there and just get embarrassed, to get smacked up. When you got Tyreek Hill, when you got Waddle, when you got Mostert, when you got Tua, you're supposed to be trying to do something. The Colts don't even know who they are. You got Anthony Richardson, top pick on the sideline with a clipboard. About to be in the same boat as Trey Lance. They don't even know who they are. So to get embarrassed by that team, not that you didn't just lose, you got embarrassed. All right, so it's only one game, so 1-4. Okay, fine. But for me, it gets late early. Okay, yeah, and you can turn things around, and you don't know what's going to happen in the course of a season. There's ups and downs, all the rest of that stuff. But a lot of times we see things go south early, and they stay going south, particularly when you have volatile personalities. Okay, Tyreek Hill, is he explosive on the field? Yes, he is. Is he explosive off the field? Yes, he is. So that's what speaks to me more so in that game. Okay, they lost, and it's a bad loss, but and this is what I say with the Utes. The young ones coming up, the AAU culture, all this stuff, and I'm the man and all the rest of that stuff. I referee these games. I follow these scores. How you have two good teams and one team lose by 40? You got two good teams, but a team lost by 40. How's that happen? Okay? It happened because you was too cool for school. With the bad body language and the bad player efficiency. And once things started to go south, they went all the way south because you quit on plays and your team. As I said what I said. You're out there rubber legging it. That's how you lose by 40 in these grassroots games. You want to talk about the process? You want to talk about making it in hoops? That's I know. Okay, we can talk hoops because I'm deep down. I can give you some hoops, but it's comparable across sports. So the Miami Dolphins loss, we'll talk more about. It was a lot of, okay, y'all cutting and running. Can't tell me the Colts are 25, 30, however many, points better than the Dolphins. Maybe one score, maybe a field goal. We will touch on what happened in Atlanta. Yes, sir. That was tough. Colts might be a little bit better than the Dolphins on any given Sunday, but they're not 2, 3, 4 scores better. No. That's some Michael Ray Richardson stuff right there. Y'all got to get it together. Good question. Your boy Joe Flacco was handling business. We'll start there. We got a lot, right? A lot early on to discuss. A lot early on. The Lions got manhandled as well. Okay? Are they missing Ben Johnson already? Okay, Packers, lightning in a bottle with Micah Parsons and then Jordan Love and their system. They execute their system. They bring in the next guy. They develop him. They put him out there. People had a lot to say, have had a lot to say about Jordan Love. Folks were unsure. Football people were unsure about Jordan Love last year. He took them right to the top of a very competitive division. And he's back a year better. The Packers, talk about institutional organizational strength. Green Bay Packers, Lambeau. They got football and they got cheese. And they got skiing and horseshoeing and snowshoeing. And I don't even know all these terms, but right. So let's talk Cleveland, and we'll go from there. Let's get Cleveland. Talking about the football game. I'm not talking about the sit eyes. No. I need the imagery, man. Come on. Let's get it for you guys on the screen. Yes, indeed. All right, the Cleveland Browns, the gift that keeps on giving. Okay, we'll start here. Good point, Chris. Green Bay is favored in that game. Okay, but were they favored by 2, 3 scores? Were they supposed to win going away? Supposed to win by double digits? No. Right? Not that you lose, it's how you lose. Green Bay was clearly, decidedly, decisively the better team. Lions, you're supposed to still be in the Super Bowl conversation. But people like myself, you fail to catch lightning in a bottle. That's why I'm not drinking the orange juice, Kool-Aid, high C, iced tea, caffeinated, whatever, with the Ravens. Is this a tremendous performance? Are they balling? Do they look good? Yes. I'm not buying nothing the Ravens are selling until I see these performances in the playoffs, period. I ain't buying it. I'm a huge Lamar Jackson fan. Harbaugh, Henry, their organization, They're about the game. They seem to be really good, exceedingly good, MVP level players on the field, and then approachable, down to earth, good folks off the field. So how do you feel about the Ravens? They conduct themselves, they carry themselves with class. It's been 5, 6. How many years has it been since Mike Vrabel went ahead and got the Patriots up out of there? We talk about this. And then Mike Vrabel did what? He went on the road and got the Ravens up out of there when Lamar had his first MVP season. How long has it been? So I've been on board with the Ravens, but nothing during the regular season. No regular season achievement is going to persuade me until I see it in the playoffs. I'm not persuaded. Okay? Bills are getting some momentum. The Ravens, to me, are the four falls of Buffalo. The Ravens today are the Buffalo Bills of my youth, are the early 90s Bills. Period, end of story. That's who they are. 4 straight Super Bowls, 4 straight L's. Best opportunity was in the first one. The Ravens, year after year after year after year, they're right there. So, reminds me of Will Chamberlain playing, in the Bill Russell era. Scoring 100 points and all this, that, and the third, but I think this is a good game. Your defense looks shaky, but you're playing against an MVP and Josh Allen. So, he's gonna do what he needs to do. All right, but in terms of the Browns and Cincinnati, I backed up off of my Cleveland Browns takes. I said they're going to be a tough out. They play in a tough division. Folks came back at me. There's injuries. They got holes here and there. So is this game more, as Big Ben Mallow likes to say, are we going to be in the loser's locker room with the Browns? Or are we going to be in the winner's locker room with the Bengals? All right, let's take Big Ben's advice and stay in the loser's locker room. This is a win. If in a loss, if a loss can be, if you can have, what do they call that? It's not a quote unquote moral victory. People believe in moral victories. The Ravens going up against MVP candidate Joe Burrow, high-powered offense. 1-point game, they lose by 1. All right. Obviously they weren't favored, but it's a good showing against a talented team. Now, the Browns are going nowhere this year. So these are the type of games, frankly, that they need. Close games, developmental games, and losses. Because they're going to be in a lottery with a high draft pick. Hopefully they don't shoot themselves in the foot, i.e. the Patriots, who lost out on Travis Hunter because they're angry and they were of the infighting. Allen going down the field, not happening. Right? Patriots lose out on Travis Hunter because of, the war within, because of a civil war. From the Browns, this is wonderful. It's not wonderful because you play to win the game. But in this year's AFC with this roster, they are developing. They're building for the future. So show well, okay? I'm cashing in some of my receipts here, folks. I've been on the Steelers. I've been on them. Never mind Aaron Rodgers and his 4 touchdowns. A nip and tuck game against the Jets. Okay, it's on the road. Maybe the Jets are going to be better. Okay, fine. That's. I would have liked for them to handle the Jets a little bit more comfort. But respect to the Jets coming out ready in game 1, giving the Steelers all that they could handle. But the Steelers showing you some signs. Like, hey, we have offense. Our defense needs to step up. You're giving up a lot of points to a team without a definitive quarterback. But the Steelers put up 34 points against the Jets defense. Joe Burrow, MVP candidate, can only put up 17 points against the Browns defense. That allegedly and purportedly is not as good as it used to be because there's holes and injuries and everything else. So back to the Browns. Do we need to see Shedeur Sanders? No. Dylan Gabriel, double no. Because I'm not confident that they could keep the team in these games. Joe Flacco is doing what he's supposed to do at 38, 9, 41, 2, 3, whatever the case may be. Joe Flacco, plays the games, and then he goes to talk to his financial advisor about his AARP, when his AARP benefits are going to kick in. He's a semi-retired starting quarterback in arguably the most competitive division in the NFL. But unlike the explosive athletes that he has playing behind him, his experience allows the Cleveland Browns to execute their game plan and be right in these contests. Give the fans hope. Because if I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, I say to myself, wow, look at, man, I know it's okay, so we're right there. We're not trying to win this season, honestly. Obviously, pride, you want to beat some, you want to win these games, but a close losing close. I mean, if you lose the right way, I'm not saying throw games. I'm saying good back and forth action like we saw at the U.S. Open today. The final between Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Back and forth. And one highly skilled individual outmaneuvered another highly skilled individual. But this is good for the Browns. Now, possibly, if, keep it going. Stay in these games. Grow. Right? You're in these competitive matchups. You can sneak a win in here. You can surprise this team or that team. Get a win here. Get a win there. Great. If it keeps up like this, I don't think we need to see Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel till week 13, 14, and 15, where they're able to duplicate what Joe Flacco is doing. I'm not just going to throw you guys out there for the sake of it, and then you ruin all the momentum that we have. And we're just out there not playing competitive football and just getting truck stick. That's no good. If they can prove that they can duplicate, meaning being a game manager. I don't need you to look down the field. I don't need explosive, this, that, or the third. I need you to do what I tell you to do. Do what I tell you to do. That's all If Gabriel or Shedeur can do that second half of the season, wonderful. That's even better. Because then the fans get a chance to see them. That's even more hope. These Ravens are running wild right now. Right? And then you're accomplishing the same things, but more so. Because there's more hope and potential just seeing the younger player coming up while you're still losing these very competitive games and increasing your draft status to go ahead and maybe make a power move, right? So it's a good first week for the Browns. In terms of the Bengals, I have to ask myself, now, football folks, you hear this consistently, that the Bengals, just how they get down, they always start the season slow. Just how things work. They're a second half team, and they just start slow. J Mac knows his football. Shout out to Jason McIntyre on the herd, also straight fire, him and Rob G. We don't play a hate around here. Go check them out. Really solid stuff, particularly on football, and they do a lot of gaming stuff that really deep into. So check them out. But the Bengals, you only scored 17 points against a beat up Browns team. What the heck? Oh, goodness. You just saw what I just saw, folks. You that you just saw what I just that. I'm happy for B More. You know I rock with B More. Stop it. I've never lived in Baltimore. I don't claim to. Don't give me, I haven't eaten the crab cake. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I respect the culture from a great distance because David Simon is one of my heroes. I said what I said. I said what I said. They out here, they showing out tonight. It's a beautiful thing. But I can't buy no stock in the Ravens. I can't do it. I can't allow myself. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I can't do it until I see this performance in January. I need this performance in September and January. I had enough. They have to get over the hump. They got to get that Tom Hanks and put Wilson on the raft and put your sail up, and they got to get away from that losing island in the playoffs. But it's great to see in week 1. Okay? Let's keep it moving. Browns, it's a good start. You know what I mean? Stay competitive. Keep building, developing for next year. They're a next year team. Patriots time. Let's get on. Okay. There you go. Come on. Give me some. Where's the imagery here? It's taking too much time. There we go. No, there's no art here. Dealing with these production. There we go. All right. My bad, people. That was a great catch by D-Hop. You know what I mean? He's saying, be more. We run and catch a ball. Paraphrasing. Versus the... All right. Needed a better search. That's what I needed. And still, I got the better search. I'm going to lock it down right here. Yes, sir. Finally. Finally got the art. Only took 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes. Let's go. No, thank you. Are we disappointed out there in television land? Patriots lose week 1 at home. How much time we have? Third quarter, Ravens up 15, so we got time. But Baltimore has been dictating the terms. So we'll see. We'll see for the Bills. Two very good teams. And right now, Baltimore clearly has the upper hand. Goodness gracious. Okay. It was a good game. That was my feeling. Talked about it on the program. The program, as they say on Pat McAfee's show. Look, I wasn't sure of two things. First of all, the perception that the Patriots are going to be world beaters this year. Talking about 8 and 9 wins and competing for the playoffs. Okay, they drafted a couple people, they added a few people, but this is a team that won 3 and 4 games. They won 7 total games the last 2 years. What are we talking about here, people? They won 7 total games the last 2 years. Are we doing the generative intelligence? Are we doing the artificial intelligence? Are robots playing in the NFL now? Have they cloned Tom Brady, who's going to return to the Patriots? I didn't understand. No slight to anybody, and I made it clear. I'm Team Mayo, as in Gerard. Also the mayo, when you're getting your sub, you know what I mean? You put that mayo on a turkey, provolone, lettuce, tomato. You know what I mean? Put the mayo on it, make it. Shout out to Jersey Mike's and Blimpies. Y'all know nothing about no Blimpies. Okay, Blimpies was my day. Okay, before the Jersey Mike, we did. I came up on Blimpies. Shout out to Blimpies. Okay, right? Always get mayo on my turkey sub. Give it that taste. Give it that extra. Right? So I was Team Gerard Mayo. Does that mean that I'm looking past all of the deficiencies that took place last year, most notably and unimaginably winning the last game that cost them the number 1 pick? No, I'm not. All I'm saying and have been saying, it's not about Team Mayo, Team Vrabel. It ain't about in between the team stuff either. And all this beefing that we have going on, which frankly is saddening. It's saddening. Bill Belichick's not going to have the Patriots down to Carolina, and the Patriots aren't going to have Bill Belichick to. Are you kidding me? I might have to hit the left coast, man. I might hit the left coast. Your boy, who's sometimes a homebody, and I get into my routine. I don't like to leave, but now I know they got Blimpies back out west. Now I can appreciate what I'm talking about. That extra mayo on your sub, delicious. All right, I don't like all of this drama and hurt emotions. How can things go so well and then now it's amazing, and it's amazing, and it give you perspective. You never know. You never know. What did Tom Izzo say? Sports, the highs are very high and the lows are very low, and you have to remember both when you're going through it, right? Because for the Patriots, I'm just talking about not being on the same page. Yes, Belichick and Kraft beefing is a different subject, but it's symmetrical with what I'm talking about. I had a question about why there was all of the concern, and it's not about criticism. I felt there was a general lack of support. Maybe that is too harsh because this is Boston. It's the number 1 sports city. But I didn't feel like people were rallying around Gerard Mayo last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. Jump in. And Vrabel comes into town, and Vrabel's a good coach. I've gone over some of his resumes and some of the huge wins that he's had and how he built up Tennessee, and they were a consistent threat, and they won big games, and he did that just leaving the playing field and becoming a coach. Is it going to take time, Chris? Because he has weapons, but they scored 13 points. As the Bills get out in the open field, guy made a move, and then Peacock wanted to freeze. Bills are moving. That looked like a right down to the goal line. I like Drake May. Folks, football folks were telling me Jaden Daniels. I was like, no, I'm because Drake May had more aura in college than Jaden Daniels. Even though Daniels went out and bowled and won the Heisman and all the rest of that stuff, entering there last season, Drake May had more aura. You were hearing about Caleb Williams and you were hearing about Drake May. So I said, hey, Caleb's the definitive number one, right? All right, they take Jaden, but I felt we got a comparable quarterback. I felt Caleb, Jaden, Drake about the same. That's been disproven as Jaden Daniels has just taken off. Now you can talk about who they played last year, and I'm not hearing that because he balled out when it mattered most in the playoffs. So they might have had, and he's a rookie anyway, so their schedule wasn't overwhelming, and he balled out when they played against the overwhelming competition, specifically the Detroit Lions in Detroit. So I'm Team Drake May. Talking to football people, I'm hearing a lot of reservations about him. So you tell me he has weapons? I'm saying, where's the points? Is the Raiders defense that imposing? Never mind, you're playing them at home for you to only generate 13 points of offense. Right? Jump in at any time, folks. Let's head back to the cultural things, the organizational things. And the questions that I'm going to repeat, and then we'll just get deep into this game. So I had questions, just leave it at that, questions, about how it was just going to shift when you had essentially the same ingredients. You bring in a more experienced chef. All right, now, okay, they got, we got Diggs and we got this person, we got that. Like, Diggs does not, I was Team Diggs when he was, and he's still on my fantasy. No, hold on. No, I had to let Diggs go just because I kept Kelson and let Diggs go. Again, because I wasn't, you get talking about Mahomes versus Drake May. I said, I'm going to go with Mahomes, even though Kelsey's older and yada, yada, yada. And Stephon Diggs is not a spring chicken anymore. But the narrative, Patriots, we got it. We got our guy as coach. He's turning this thing around. We're ready to go. You know who had the same narrative? Las Vegas Raiders. We got our guy, Pete Carroll. He's in his 70s, but he's got energy of a man half his age. They had a high draft pick as well. And so we're gonna give it a shot. But the distinction is, never mind that the Raiders play in arguably the most talented, toughest division in football, AFC West, as we've seen. Chiefs and Chargers going at it. Broncos having their struggles, but getting their act together against the Titans. So there's no, And the Bills in the AFC East clearly talk about the Patriots usurping the Dolphins for the second best team. That, who knows? Because the Dolphins. But why was it Patriots here and Raiders here? That's what I'm asking. This sentiment like, oh, we got the Raiders, and this is gonna be a start, And the two teams are, if anything, I would think the Raiders, if not comparable talent, they had a better season last year because the Patriots were a train wreck. So if you have a better season and you have as good, if not a better coach, because as good a coach as Mike Vrabel is, he's never won a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll has that on his resume. So I have better momentum coming from last season. I have as good, if not a better coach. Why was this game considered a shoo-in for the Patriots? Is beyond that they're the Patriots and I live in the Commonwealth and people are like the home team. Like, why? It wasn't just in the Commonwealth. There was this generalized sentiment nationally, I'll say, that the Patriots were bouncing back this year and it was going to be a competitive season. And so again, might seem like piling on. No. Check the receipts. I return to the question, why? Mike Vrabel's a good coach. That's understood. But he's using mainly the same ingredients and a couple rooks mixed in. So it takes time. Honestly, the subconscious effects of the continuous losing that's taking place here in New England is what how do I want to say this? The subconscious effects. So it would be, what persuaded people without their perception that they were being persuaded, right? In layman's terms, folks just were so tired of being a doormat and laughing stock that they bought the first ticket from the shrewd salesman that they could. The ticket that said the Patriots all of a sudden immediately are going to be something because we've changed one thing a couple months ago. That's the coach. I've been on this, the Dolphins. All right? And I'm staying on it because of the home field advantage. Yes, the Patriots have been going to Miami since time immemorial. They'll adjust to the heat. I get all of that. Decidedly, it's a must-win for both. But the Patriots don't have Tyreek Hill. They don't have Waddle. They don't have Tua. Their coach is not on the hot seat. He's cooking. He's going to cook, I hope he cooks right through into the playoffs. I have the Dolphins winning. The game undoubtedly means more to them. Okay, the Patriots don't win the game. If the Patriots have a middling season, Mike Vrabel's not getting fired. Mike McDaniels is out of there. Right? And last I checked, they were the better team. Am I missing something? Are the Patriots more talented than the Dolphins? Do they have a better quarterback? Do they have a better number one wide receiver? They may have certain pieces on the defensive end that are better, but is their defense overall head over heels better than the Dolphins? What am I missing? Lamar doing his thing. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. He doesn't believe in sliding. Josh Allen don't believe in sliding either. You just saw what I just saw. That was a 20-yard detour and a 20-yard and a no. Not a must-win for KC, right? Goodness gracious. You're watching the same game I'm watching. I can't buy it, folks. It's only week 1. I cannot buy this. A lot of long faces in below. A lot of long faces. Folks, we're still involved in Indian summer right now. We're still involved in Indian summer. I have never seen man, those folks in Buffalo, why they keep coming off the top rope and abusing those folding tables. Why they beat down those folding tables in Buffalo? Why? Huh? I get it. But goodness, what did those tables do to you? A, and B, stop jumping off of freaking RVs and hide from high places. Stop it. Y'all ain't young no more to do that stuff. Stop. The energy is wonderful. It just boggles my mind, folks. And it shouldn't boggle my mind because we got working class heroes, and football is an outlet for the working class heroes of this country. Good. Have the outlet, right? Sports aren't everything, but they're important. Wonderful. But you see the line and some, to get in the Arrowhead or to get into the Buff, there's a line outside the stadium at 7:00 in the morning. People are going hard. Just the organization alone, it's just wow. Y'all are up it's almost like you're going on a fishing trip. Up at 5, 4:30, packed, have everything you need. It's all set up and organized. They got it's just all organized here. The facilities here. You can go inside if you need to use a restaurant. All this. It's just, I'm have your day. Get out, share community, keep it in perspective. Wonderful. But when I watch these people from Buffalo, especially when it gets brick cold, them just off the top rope, just hooking off on innocent tables. Innocent. So if a couple tables have to get bowed, understandable. But stop jumping, just, right? Everybody can't play Jimmy Superfly Snooker. Everybody can't do that, Buffalo. Please, work with me on it. But have your fun. But work with me. I ain't buying it. Not 1 cent. 0. You people say, you can't. I'm not throwing no shade. I done made it clear how I feel about this team. I've been pulling for this team for years. I'm not buying this. If they get the number 1 seed, I'm not buying it either. I need to see this performance in January. I need this performance in January. Period. I'm not buying anything else having to do with the Ravens. Hold on. January and February. That's right. And February. This is good. This is beautiful football. This is artwork. This is the NFL, right? It's all I'm celebrating along with everybody else. The artistry, the domination, everything. Wonderful. I need it in January and February, period. No, Chris, good question. All right, let's please, folks, with the Patriots, last call on this. If anybody wants to, let me check my socials because I'm saying it, but I'm not checking it. All right, people are watching. There's a lot of good stuff going on. Beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. All right, we doing what we doing. Last call on the Pats. They're losing next week to Miami on the road. Right? Not a bad loss. I mean, unless if they get blown out. Am I calling for the Patriots to get blown out? Absolutely not. But what I'm saying clearly and definitively is I need the receipts. I need every single last receipt. Okay? So they lost at home is a clunker. Is it a clunker because they only scored 13 points and you lose by a touchdown, one possession game. Not a terrible loss, but not inspiring. So they got edged out by a better team that day. Not a bad loss, except for the expectations that they had on them. If the Patriots lose a one possession game next week to the Dolphins, there's no shame. Because that's who the team is, as far as I'm concerned. They are an upstart rebuilding franchise. They're not a win now, end of their window franchise like the Dolphins. So if they lose a one possession game next week, that's all right. Now, people in they might be ready to, the sky is falling. That's just because of Boston, the type of sports city it is. Fine, criticize and do all the rest of that stuff. But what I will be looking specifically at is within the criticism, should the Patriots lose next week, will there be the type of tone, I'll say, that we saw last year with Gerard Mayo? Patriots start off, yeah. We've gone over this. I said 5-6 wins for the Patriots. 5 or 6. Chris can jump in and people were talking 8-9 in playoffs. I said 5 or 6. They're not better than the Dolphins. They're not better than the Steelers. They're about evenly matched with the Raiders. What team are they better than? I'm looking for teams that they are just better than. And so again, to the original point, it's not that you lose, it's how you lose. You go to Miami next week, you lose by one possession. Okay, you're building. You go to Pittsburgh, you lose by like 10 points or whatever, you're still building. These are not bad losses, and I feel that you should look at the growth and, right, the incremental growth and focus on that. That's how I feel the team should have been last year, except for all the drama. Do I want drama? No. Am I saying because this happened last year with this guy, we need to do the same thing nonsense? No, it's not what I'm saying. But this is what I'm looking for. Because the Patriots won their first game last year. Then they had a couple, mishaps. And then next thing you know, there's all this internal drama that just kept spiraling all the way to the debacle of the last game. So are we going to see that this year? Is that going to be the same thing when the losers pile up? Or can we support the coach and, try to emphasize the positive? The Patriots weren't going to win the Super Bowl last year. They're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. I don't see what's wrong with the comparison to Tennessee. That's building. That's learning. You got Cam. Tennessee played well today. They turned over Bo Nix. That was a competitive nip and tuck game. Did anybody pick Tennessee to win on the road against a Denver Broncos team that's supposed to make some noise this year? No. But they showed well. They pushed them around. They showed you some things that, okay, that they're going to build and grow upon. Excuse me. Get my shot right. So if the Patriots are on the same, then it's no love lost. You get a draft pick. You continue to grow your franchise. And frankly, that's should have been woulda, coulda, shoulda. How business was conducted last year. All right? Let's talk about Patty Mahomes. Let's get Mahomes up on the big board. Be less of a delay. Yes, sir. So for Patty Mahomes, look, this is what Kansas City is used to, right? They always have because they're always in the Super Bowl. This year, though, for me, they're going to have to go on the road, right? To win games, sure, but I have them making the playoffs, possibly being in the wild card, and can they win on that journey? Can they run the tables? They've shown that they can do it before, right? Going into Baltimore, beating the Ravens, outclassing them. The Ravens absolutely remember that game in Baltimore with the penalties and the drops, right? Chiefs, solid, concise, executing. But this year's team looks like, okay, you lose to the Chargers, take an L to the Eagles, right? You're gonna battle with the Broncos. Gonna be some losses there, right? The Chiefs are gonna take some losses this year. These other teams are at their level or better than them. Okay, and specifically the strategic edge that Andy Reid has enjoyed. Right, you got 4 Hall of Fame coaches in your division. What are you gonna do? Yeah, the Chiefs should beat. All right. But I don't have them securing home field advantage for the playoffs. And I'll double down on that. I don't have them getting a first round bye. If they're gonna win it this year, they're gonna have to go the distance. Which they're capable, they're the Chiefs. Okay. The confidence that I have in Kansas City to be ready when the time comes is the reservations that I have with Baltimore. KC takes their lumps. They're going to lose here. They're going to lose there. Right, they're going to get a wild card game, which they'll win. And then they'll be right back in the Final Four in their conference. Jackson Dart. Let's see who they play week 2. But as far as the Chiefs Kingdom, folks, right? Chiefs Kingdom remains. It's under attack, most certainly. What did we learn from Game of Thrones? Among other things, a Lannister always repays his debts. That old Mahomes boy, he going when he sees you during playoff time, he gonna have something for you. He gonna have something for you. Let's take a look at the New York Football Giants. Okay, Cowboys week 2. Cowboys hung in there. Ravens double-digit lead, working. Okay, Cowboys, tough, tough game. Divisional game, but a tough game. Chiefs at home, tough. Chargers. I say week 5. Yeah, then Kansas City, then Philly. I say they go to the Dart week 5 against the Saints. You know? You don't want to throw them out there with the Wolves week 4 against excuse me. They don't play Philly. They play the Chargers. Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers. So a divisional game and then 2 stout out-of-conference opponents. Then they have the Saints. Insert Jackson Dart. And then they have the Eagles. Right? Give him that game against the Saints to get his bearing before he gets clobbered against the Eagles. Okay? Let's get the young man up on the screen. Let's get the young man up on the screen. Excellent. Good imagery. Cowboys, loss. Chiefs, loss. Chargers, loss. At the Saints, competitive. Eagles, loss. Broncos, loss. Eagles, loss. Niners, loss. Bears, loss. Packers, Lions. They don't have another competitive game until the Patriots. Week 12. They're the underdog after they play the Saints until they play the Patriots. So you got 7 weeks of just trouble. Right? That's how Sean McVay gets down. I know that Matthew Stafford plays for the Rams. I don't know if he's actually playing, but I know that he's on the team. And that's about it. But Sean McVay, year in and year out, turning lemons into lemonade. You know, they could have moved off of Daboll this year. I think if he's again competitive in these matchups, because there's no love lost in their schedule. Show me single score games. Show me that Jackson Dart is getting better at certain things. He's not ready and he's getting thrown in the fire. Or maybe you don't throw him in the fire. Right? Keep Russell Wilson in there to take those lumps. That's my argument for, right? Let me reshuffle that take. Okay, so they start off 0-4. You know, why would I throw him in there for one game against the Saints only to get no? So let me reshuffle that. I'm not throwing him in for one night cupcake game only to play the Eagles 2 times in 3 weeks. No. Let's go further down. Throw him in against the 49ers at home, maybe. Bears on the road. Packers at home, right? I think you can wait as far as week 12. Back half of the season, Patriots, Commanders, Vikings, Raiders, Cowboys. So let me reshuffle that. No, you don't need to. No, let him learn. Let Wilson go out there and have what's left of a career. He's going to be running for his life, and he can sit back and learn on the sidelines. And if by week 12 Russ has had enough, all right, come on in against the Patriots. And do what you do. But we don't need to have no. And Daboll, I think they're going to at least give him one more year because they drafted the future. Right? He's the quarterback whisperer. The Barkley banisher. Is that on Daboll or is that on the organization not seeing value in Saquon Barkley? I think both are going to deserve some smoke on that. Right? So protect your investment. And Russ, you wanted to cook? Good luck. Good luck to you with that giant schedule. Okay. But it's not a different situation. So much of a different situation as the Cleveland Browns, to me. You're learning to fly. Tom Petty, we talked about this. Learning to fly, but I ain't got wings. Coming down, right? My Tom Petty people out there. Tom Petty's a man. Tom Petty's a man. He sang it. He was on the Super Bowl. It's going back some years. You guys, you sports fans will remember it. I didn't realize how many hits. I didn't realize how many hits he had until he got up there and did the Super Bowl. Tom Petty is arguably, that's not a statement. Tom Petty is the best Super Bowl performance in the last 10 years. Tell me I'm wrong. Whoa, Kendrick was tough last year. But I'm saying Tom Petty, top 3. Kendrick was like, woo, Kendrick, woo. Look, FYI, folks, 2 things. Because I'm, my brother knows, I don't know all the new hotness, So, I honestly, and it's, I can't be mad at you. You can be mad at me if you want. But your boy, you know what I'm saying? I'm hanging in there, but I'm not a spring chicken no more. I get a lot of my cultural, learning what the new music is just through refereeing. Reffing and that pregame, that hype music, which is super cool. You travel an hour and 15, you got to move all over. But it's nothing like, for football, we call it Friday Night Lights. There's nothing like, it's well worth it. Is it work? Yes, it is. You're traveling, you're tired. All that stuff doesn't mean nothing to me. Because it's once in a lifetime. Those are the memories that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. We want to give them the best opportunity, make the environment as good as, you can create, because I had a good childhood, all the rest of that stuff. I talk about it. It means a lot to me now as I get in the middle age. I think about it often. And so you want them to have a similar type of experience. But I get I don't know, I don't know these young guys, but I hear the warm-up music. I was like, that song's hot. Let me because I'm getting older, so I can't do the explicit version. I do the clean version. I can't do all the, right? When you're younger, you're young, angry. F this. I'm just, again, I refereed today. I don't know if I shared this with you guys. Really good championship game, and one of our local young men who's in his early 20s that I, officiated him as he was coming up. He played on our team when he was just out of high school, and then he started his own men's league right here in town. It's tremendous. If you build it, they will come. Got good teams, some older teams. A lot of the younger guys, they're in their 20s, some in their 30s, but they're younger. And it's just great for them to have that resource and that outlet. But that being said, it was a championship game today, and it got a little trippy. Game starts off, everybody, and then like it's a competitive game, and what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Say what? It just takes one, and it got so. There's a couple things. First of all, I'm getting older, and if you watch The Sopranos out there, any Sopranos people, shout out to David Chase, another one of my heroes. If you watch The Sopranos, you'll understand based on the interaction between Tony and Melfi, that what is depression, or what's one definition for depression? There's a number, but what's one definition for depression? Very good. Depression is rage turned inward. Depression is rage turned inward. Okay? You turn it back on yourself. All right? Chris, we're going, back with the football. No doubt, Derek. The game is, you never know. So I don't want to. Hold on to the ball, Derrick Henry. Okay, I'm doing slice of life now. I'm doing slice of life, and we're going to bring this back to the topic. So during the game, right, young guys get into it a little bit, and I'm like, man, I'm kind of getting too old for this. But then I thought again to myself, I was like, they're expressing the same thing just in a different way because they're young. They're in their 20s, right? So they project, anger, they blah, 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 blah. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? It's a good league. These guys are invested in the league. We talked. They chipped in. They talked a little bit more, and then we just moved on. It was a good competitive, right? They're talking back. Everybody knows everybody. It wasn't like we had this team from everybody in the gym. Like these guys have grown up together. One's a couple, 3-4 years older. Like everybody here knows that. So what are we doing? What are we doing to take it, to get physical or confrontation? Uh-oh. To Chris's point, 1-score game. Oh, Derrick Henry. All right, now. Got ahead of myself. We're going to keep touch with this. I'm also coming back to Slice of Life. Slice of Life is when I go to the Instagram, which we're going to get to in a second. But we're talking right now. We're having a conversation. So that was what kind of jumped out to me. I was like, man, like these guys. But yeah, they got a little bit, because they're, you're in the 20s, so you express it. You get a little bit older, and a lot of that frustration, anger, angst, it's inward. You say, oh, I'm depressed, and I feel down and stuff like that. It's anger, frustration, angst, turned inward. Versus, telling somebody to go jump in a lake, like the young folks do. So it has to be processed, and either way. And the ball players, they did a good job of regulating themselves and focusing on keeping the main thing. Had a really good game. Ended up being a 3-point game down the stretch. And a player actually got fouled because it was a 3-point game. They had a couple guys foul out because it was only 5 fouls versus 6. Men's leagues generally are 6 fouls versus 5. 5 is just for the high school. If it's a men's league, 6 fouls. But they did 5. That's how the leagues played. It worked out fine. But a couple guys fouled out. But even still, a guy had a chance on a 3, got fouled, went to the free throw line, and missed his free throws. Ended up losing the game. So that's the first thing I want to share. It was good. It was positive. It was encouraging. Folks having an outlet, and sharing community, getting exercise, all that stuff. Looks like B-Lo got it. B-Lo for 2. Oh, no. Are we looking at a tie game here, folks? I'm over here talking. We got a one possession game, and Buffalo's on the goal line. We're gonna stay locked into this as I go ahead with the life and time stuff. So that was 2-minute warning, 3rd and goal, 8-point game. It's a beautiful thing. Second thing that must be shared with the people in television land. Good men's league game. Overall, good, just good competition, some trash talking back and forth, just exercise, everything worked out well. Now, so I'm walking out of the game, and nice night. Indy, it doesn't need to be Indian summer because it's still summer, even though we're in September, folks. I'm walking out of the game, right? And I see a car in the parking lot, nice SUV, had a little system, a little bass music going on, right? As we get to third and goal here, let's line them up and see, right? Looking like a tush push situation. Big package. Tush push. Josh Allen is in. Wow, here we go. Here we go. Comes down to the 2-point conversion. All right, I'm going to continue with the story as we, this is it right here. This is the play. All right, Josh Allen has it. He's got the play. They shotgun formation. They went to Coleman. No. I don't know if it's a back shoulder fade or what it was, but no. A little bit of a hold there. No? A lot of contact. I don't know. He's gripping him up. Oh, I'm seeing a hold there, buddy. I'm seeing his back arm holding him. Football people? Is that incidental contact or what? He goes out, there's contact here. He turns. I know there, but I had his arm. I can see a no call or I can see a call. I could, it wasn't. It was kind of just a quick play, so we didn't really even give him a chance to break. So that's why I can see not calling it. But there was some tussling going on. There was tussling. All right, second point. As the Ravens go into their 2-minute drill. I'm walking out, and nice car, good bass music. I'm like, all right, boom. And the car goes to turn, and it turns up on the curb. Now, unfortunately, it's an SUV, so it didn't bottom out. But I'm like, what? Didn't you not see the curb? I was like, you're playing your bass music, you didn't see the curb. Because I walk out, it was turning, and then as I'm getting in the parking lot, then they go, boom, boom, and then it just came up. Fortunately, it wasn't so fast that it jumbled anything. Folks, so I'm like, all right, I'm going like this. I'm going like back up, back up, back up. I get parallel to the driver's side. There's nobody in the car at all. What the heck? Automated. Then I look over, in the near the entrance, and the dude is on his cell phone, like boop 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 boop, video game style. I'm like, what the heck? Is this where we're at now, folks? You can on your phone start your car and move your car around from your phone. This is the brave new world we're living in. Fortunately, he boop boop boop, and they backed up slowly and came back off the curb. But what the heck? You can start the car and move the car around all from your cell phone. Gotta look that word up, Chris. Was it a Waymo? Let's get that on the screen. The answer is no. No, it didn't have. It was it was just a regular looking SUV. Sleek. No, so it wasn't one of these model cars with this on the top, and all. No. It looked like a regular, newer model SUV. Newer model SUV. What's going on here with this game? Ravens trying to kill the clock. Peacock, we got to step this up with the streaming. Come on. When I'm watching my Amazon Prime games, I don't have no delay. Peacock, come on now. It's been good, but step it up. Step it up. But nonetheless, like, if the car is here, like it was taking a left turn, right? Turning a left, and just didn't turn wide enough and skipped up on the curb. And got to back on up, my friend. Back on up and get it right. Persistent cough, but we make it work. Keep it moving. All right, so we're gonna be with you through the 2-minute drill here for Buffalo. Chance to win, if you can believe it. Raiders have been the Ravens. Ravens have been the better team. But hey, you got to close the show. You got to seal the deal. Peacock is kind of back and forth. So let me just go over here and get the game cast. The play-by-play. And we shall see. Not talking at every play is sticking for me. Play starts and I don't know if that's more people, as the game gets down the wire. I don't know if they overflood, flooded the server. But I'm a play or two behind my game cast here. Let's see, how do I trying to keep track on? All right, I'm on Gamecast, but it's giving me, well, it won't allow me to do Gamecast until the commercial for the Roses ends. All right, we shall see. Agreed. You're a step or 2 or 3 ahead of me, just because I'm on the Peacock server. Let me see if I return and come back. That's probably what I got to do. Buffalo's in scoring position. I'm trying to I'm trying to restore my stream here. Let's see what we got. I'm trying to watch the game. What's going on, Peacock? First and goal. We'll see if Buffalo can seal the deal here. All right, they're killing the clock. As they should. All right, folks. Now, look. We talked about this. Okay? In terms of the Ravens being the four falls of Buffalo and not being able to get out of their own way. Frankly, maybe this is what they needed. Best thing for the Ravens. Because unless we have a missed chip shot, and we saw the kicker from the Falcons, who played a very good game, allegedly and purportedly one of the better kickers in the NFL, just absolutely shank. I don't know, it wasn't even close. All right, so the kicker may miss this chip shot. But irregardless, this is the type of Sisyphus activity that the Ravens are known for. Remember who Sisyphus is from Greek mythology. Destined to roll that huge ball all the way up to the top of the hill, only to have it come right down and start again. That was his punishment. Roll the heavy ball just to the top of the hill, but could never get over the top. Rolls all the way back down to the beginning. Ravens, they're just known for this type of stuff. Okay? Is it? What do you want to say here? It's an important and a bad loss because this loss can be the difference between home field advantage and you playing that playoff game that you have to win. Is it going to be in Buffalo in September? Or are we going to be in Buffalo in January playing that game? Right? So that's what a loss like this determines. So it does have value and significance. But beyond that, with the Ravens, never mind why do you do this to yourself and keep doing this to yourself, but this type of stuff happens in the playoffs. Kick us up. You know what it is. Right? Yeah, they did. And they do. We come back to what we talked about, or what Big Ben talks about. Better story being in the loser's locker room. It's yeah. What do they say? You got to take your medicine. This is the medicine that the Ravens need. All right? It's embarrassing. And it's their identity, right? For all of the achievement and all of the awards and they're just good players. I'm repeating myself, which I don't like to do. But this is the Ravens' identity. I don't know what to say. Does anybody out there feel that the Bills were the better team tonight? Are they the better team overall? They're Sisyphus is who they are. Baltimore Ravens in the Lamar Jackson era are Sisyphus. That's their identity. They have always pushed that heavy ball right to the top of the hill. Right there. Everything is in order. You have the coach. You have the players. You have the general manager. You have the support. And it tumbles all the way back down. They are the modern day 1990s Buffalo Bills. And so it is what it is. This game will have an impact in terms of, as I said, home field. Ravens looking at a situation similar to what it's been. They're going to have to go on the road and put up a complete game on the road versus having that game of home. They've lost both. So you say to yourself, let me just push back before we get into slice of life, that this is the type of loss that they need, to kind of motivate. But their identity, the identity of the Ravens is losing this way. They always lose this way. Right? They're always. So to say, okay, they had this tough loss, but they're going to, but that's been their identity the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years of coming off great seasons where they underperform, whereas the next year we're going to get it right, and then only to underperform, and then the next year we're going to get it right, only to underperform, and the next year we're going to get it right. Can't buy no stock. Can't do it. So we'll see with the Ravens. But by saying that I'm not buying stock in them means, that door is open for Josh Allen to step through, for Justin Herbert to step through, for an Aaron Rodgers to step through, for Joe Burrow to step through, for Trevor Lawrence to step through. I said what I said. The door is open. My homeboy and the Chiefs, they look like they're going to be not having pole position is what I'm saying. Doesn't look like the Chiefs are going to have pole position. So which one of these other teams? Chargers? The Steelers? Right? The Bills? Who's going to take that pole position, get that home field advantage throughout, and it's like, you got to come through me. You got to come through me. Okay? Joe Burrow has proven to me, as much as he's been injured, he came into the year injured, his team is not complete. There's institutional things that Joe Burrow has to deal with just beyond him, and then he's just been injured at times. Fine. Joe Burrow's shown me he can go into an environment as an underdog, and just get it done, period. The Ravens have never shown that. This is going to be Buffalo's year. Hey, you win a game like this, their schedule is easier. It's just easier. The Ravens, their division is nuts. It's mind-boggling. And I think what's frustrating is because, like, you want to root for Baltimore. You want to root for them. But they continually... It's amazing. Because everything is in place for it to go right. And it continues to go wrong. So, we've dealt with the losers' locker room. Respect to Buffalo. Right? Do they miss Stephon Diggs? No, they don't. We don't need culture and chemistry killers. We'll take less talent and more togetherness. Thank you very much. A situation like this where you have somebody going off on their own, bickering, berating, right? Disrupting. No. We'll stay together and trust the process and do it the right way. So, hey, it's just one game. I get all that, so on and forth. What do they say? The clip's going to clip. We need something like that for the Ravens. We need a phrase for the Ravens. Because that's who they are. Fine and dandy. We'll push it off to the playoffs, and we'll believe that they can turn it around. They never have. And you can call it disrespect all you want. This is the same argument about LeBron James throughout his career. And people saying 4-6 in the finals and all the rest, and people saying that's hate and yada, yada, yada. It is what it is. There's no reason why LeBron James didn't make the NBA Finals in 2009 and 2010 when Cleveland had the best regular season record in the NBA. There's no reason LeBron James did not force a Game 7 in 2011 against the Mavericks after winning the first 2 games and then losing 4 straight. There's no reason those Miami Heat teams got beat by the Spurs in 5. In 2014, after they stole one from the Spurs, and the Spurs stormed back the next year and gentlemen swept them before LeBron took his talents back to Cleveland. So, yes, LeBron has the 4 championships. He brought a championship to Cleveland. He brought a championship to the Lakers, all that stuff. But he's had consistent times. I just named you multiple times in high leverage spots where he's blinked. It's a good question, and I'll get to it before Slice of Life. It's a really good question. Let's get Caitlin Clark up on the screen because this is real. This is important. Chris, it was late, but it got early because we make time. And this is important. This is notable. This is notable. All right, folks, in terms of Caitlin Clark missing essentially the majority of the WNBA season, it's a huge loss. We're Ravens fans, Bills fans are singing for joy right now. Ravens fans are in the dumps. Okay, can't believe it. Not that you lose, it's how you lose. To just let this game slip away from you, it's demoralizing. Caitlin Clark missing the majority of this WNBA season, her second season, is demoralizing for the league on a number of different levels. Okay? First of all, the drama that the league involves itself in rather than a rising tide to lift all boats. So when she is playing, it's drama. Too much is the narrative rather than the exceptional talent and artistry on the court. Let me take a look at this here because I got to double check. For me, we got to trust but verify. So we got to do a quick search here. I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, but I'm not a doctor. All right. Look, folks. So I'm not a doctor. I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. A groin injury, a mild groin injury, is 1 to 2 weeks. A moderate groin injury is 4 to 8 weeks. Severe groin injury is 3 to 6 months. I did not see the play when Caitlin Clark, what is this groin injury? Where is the footage where I can look at something and say, who, that didn't look right. This, okay, she's going to be out for a time. When you say a groin injury, we're talking about anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks for the mild to 3 to 6 months for a severe. So let's look at this. I didn't see any footage of a non-contact or contact injury for Caitlin Clark. She was playing and then she had a groin injury and she was out. And then she's out for some more. And then she's out for some more. And she's out. And then now she's out for the season. I don't remember Caitlin Clark being injured when she played at Iowa. So what am I saying? Let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm questioning whether all of the outside stuff played a factor in this season-ending benign injury. Like my groin. What? Are we saying ACL? Are we saying Achilles? What are we saying? Does she need microfracture surgery? She's not somebody that has been injured. She doesn't have an injury history. And now you're telling me it's a groin. Okay. And what? You didn't tell me Achilles. You didn't tell me ACL. You didn't give me something. Right? Now, is Caitlin Clark the first player, or would she be? I'm not saying what it is. How I'm looking at it. Do we have players in the NBA that have benign injuries and are never seen again? Can you name some names for me? Guys in the NBA that my thumb. Next thing you know, it's my torso. Next thing, you right? All of this load management. And these players in the NBA that load manage are always the ones that seem to get injured when it matters most. Never mind how much they load manage. Okay? So we have a paper trail on that of players being dissatisfied with one thing, and then next thing you know, they have consistent and long-term injuries involving other things that we don't generally hear about vis-a-vis long-term injury. So what I'm saying, folks, is that for me, Caitlin Clark being out for essentially the majority of this season, with what appears to be a benign injury. No talk about surgery. No talk about extensive rehab. No second opinion that you had to go get from a doctor overseas. Just groin. My groin hurts. Okay, And it's been that way for the year. So my sneaking suspicion is that the drama and the issues off the court, the social political involvement of this storyline, how it's become a part of our national political dialogue, which is certainly and definitely polarized in many instances. All of those things, the atmosphere, the ambiance, the tone of the WNBA is a factor, as far as I'm concerned, in this long-term injury. How much of a factor? Let's talk about it. But what did we learn from The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, folks? Yeah, we learned a lot. I appreciate this. Shout out to Michael K. Williams. Yeah, just like you, man. He said, I got the shotgun. You got the briefcase. That's all in the game, though, right? I ain't never turn my weapon on no civilian. Never turn my weapon on no civilian. Classic character. Michael K. Williams. Shout out to Omar. Shout out to David Simon. Shout out to The Wire. Shout out to B-More. Tough night tonight in B-More with this Ravens loss. Shout out to Mayor Brandon Scott, who's doing big things in the city of Baltimore, creating a better place to live and hope for the future. Shout out to Brandon Scott. Shout out to Body Politic, documentary about Brandon Scott, which award-winning film at the Woods Hole Film Festival, and now you can catch it out there on streaming, so on and forth. Check out Body Politic. Respect to Brandon Scott. Let's get our ducks in a row and support each other in this country and build each other up and encourage one another rather than adversarial tactics and policies that aren't benefiting anybody. I'm going to leave it at that. Back to Caitlin Clark. It hurts my heart that she's not out there, that she's not hooping, that we are not, yes, we. Because true hoopers support the WNBA and have since day one back to 1997. This is us. It's not them and it's not those guys, those ladies over here and these guys over here. It's the leagues together. Yeah, check out Body Politic. I haven't seen it, but award-winning. About how he's turning that city around. I feel like the things off the court have factored in to this long-term injury. And bottom line, it's a loss for everybody. It's a loss for Caitlin Clark, her career, her legacy. The WNBA is more than Caitlin Clark. Yes, I got you. The league's been around before she got here. It'll be here once she's gone. Understood. But generational players lift leagues up. Back to what I was saying with Michael Jordan in The Last Dance. His rookie year, he goes in the trainer's room. You know, he's banged up a little bit. He's on the trainer's table. One of the vets said, if I had that injury, I'd be out for 2 weeks. You remember? That's right, the inaugural champions. Inaugural WNBA champions. Respect to the comments. Veteran said he was going to be out 2 weeks. Michael Jordan said it never crossed my mind not to play. It didn't even come into my consciousness that I wouldn't have played with this particular injury. And so Caitlin Clark missing the season, it's bad news. This idea of a groin, I hope that's not, code for an Achilles. I don't know why you need to use code. If she has an Achilles injury, just say she has an Achilles injury. If it's an ACL, just say ACL. You say groin, I don't know what you mean. And I'm not accustomed to hearing a groin amount to a season-ending injury, as with those other particular injuries. So hope she gets back sooner rather than later, and folks can just get on the same page and move in one direction. All right, we'll do a couple things for Slice of Life as we move into a new day. We'll do a few things with Slice of Life. We've discussed this before. Shout out to, you got to grow where you're planted. Grow where you're planted.
Memphis and the city of Memphis has done so many things for me, man, bro. It made me the man I am. And I'm so happy I went there, met y'all, real ones. My whole situation is molded, not just my career, but who I am today, bro. Like y'all don't understand being around y'all, bro. Like it really, really, really changed my whole perspective of life. All I knew was one thing. All y'all different in different ways, but I learned things from y'all. Like, bro, like y'all really big bros, like for real. I end up in Memphis, and the city of Memphis has done so many things for me, man, bro. It made me the man I am. And I'm so happy I went there, met y'all, real ones. My whole situation is molded, not just my career, but who I am.
Grow where you're planted,
bro. Like y'all don't understand being around y'all, bro. Like it really, really, really changed my whole perspective of life. All I knew was one thing. All y'all different in different ways, but I learned things from y'all. Like, bro, like y'all really big bros, like for real. I end up.
Grow where you're planted. You know what I mean? Grow where you're planted. That's hey. And his career definitely came up. Chris, could be a family related situation that they want to keep private. We'll see. Right? Right? These things happen, and first of all, it's personal. It's her personal life. There's been other instances. I can think about player from Tennessee. She's a really good broadcaster. Can't think of her name right now. I'm looking right at her and I can't think of her name. She won a championship with the Chicago Sky. She's from Chicago. You got me thinking about all these old school players. Candace Parker. Candace Parker had her daughter during her career. I believe Candace Parker was Rookie of the Year and MVP. You can go ahead and double check that. Became a defensive stopper later in her career. As I said, winning the championship, bringing the championship to Chicago, Chi-Town. But there's been other WNBA players that have taken a year, had children, and come back. That might be how this resolves itself. Okay, right? People, all right? It's a groin. I'm out. I don't want my personal life in front of the public. Yeah, we'll see. If that's not the case, though, I'm a groin for the season. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. All right, let's talk about preps.
how many points that I think each incoming 5-star college freshman will average this season, ranked from 16 to 1. Number 16 is Nick Haminia, who I predict will average 8.7 points per game on a loaded Duke roster. Number 15 is Isaiah Harwell, who I predict will average 9.9 points per game as a starter for a national championship contending Houston team. Number 14 is Caden Boozer, who I think will average 11 points per game as the PG1 at Duke. Number 13 is Caleb Wilson, who I predict will average 11.5 points per game while dominating on defense for North Carolina. Number 12 is Chris Sinak Jr., who I think will average 12.3 points per game in a key role in the Houston front court. Number 11 is Braden Burries, who I predict will average 13.2 points per game as a starter on a talented Arizona team. Number 10 is Braylon Mullins, who I think will average 14.8 points per game as UConn's next highly productive freshman. Number 9 is Nate Ament, who I predict will average an efficient 15 points per game as one of the best freshmen in the country for Tennessee. Number 8 is Tunde Yesufu, who I predict will average 15.3 points per game in a pretty high usage role for Baylor as a freshman. Number 7 is Malik Thomas, who I think will average 15.4 points per game in a bucket-getting role for Arkansas as a freshman. Number 6 is Koa Pete, who I predict will average 16.2 points per game on high efficiency for the Arizona Wildcats. Number 5 is Darius Acup Jr., who I think will average 16.8 points per game as the lead guard for a young, talented Arkansas team. Number 4 is Arkansas player right there, Cal. Will average 18.5 points per game on crazy high efficiency and following the footsteps of Cooper Flag as a Duke freshman National Player of the Year candidate. Number 3 is Michael Brown Jr., who I think will average 18.6 points per game for Louisville and be a projected top 5 pick following this season. Number 2 is Darren Peterson, who I think will average 20.5 points per game as Kansas's first true freshman superstar since Andrew Wiggins. And number 1 is AJ DeBonsa, who I predict will average 21.5 points per game for a BYU team that could compete for its first national title. This is how many points.
Hey! That was a really good rundown. Don't know if BYU is going to compete for a natty, just because, I don't know if AJ can do it on his own. I didn't see any, unless they really went to the transfer portal and ran wild. Notice Cal recruiting freshmen, and so Cal's got some talent. And then DeJuan Wagner might still, in Arkansas, DeJuan Wagner might still be hanging around. That was a really tough loss for us in the Northeast when they took out the St. John's Red Storm, who were looking to make a deep run. But I was happy that Cal got that W. Young man going to Kansas. Talked about Andrew Wiggins comps. Okay. Arizona's got some firepower. The young man that Cole Pete, he's a Compton Magic kid. No doubt, it's a good rundown Compton Magic kid. So just a couple of the stars of tomorrow to look for. I thought it was was accurate. And we're still in the summer, but we have we're closing down to get to that NBA season. Let's see. Oh boy. All right, we're going to finish with where we started. We're going to head back to the mud, getting out the mud.
Toronto. You remember you got traded.
What you about to say, bro?
Hold on, Rudy. It's my story. Let me tell you. He get to Toronto, right? Boom, they interview him. Rudy, how does it feel playing with DeMar DeRozan? He said, yeah, this is one of the best two guys I never played with in my life. I said, what?
Yeah, that was a shot, bro.
Am I invisible? Oh, man. I said, for now, it's Rudy K.
Yo,
It's Rudy K.
that's where our beef started, though.
You got to Toronto. You remember you got traded.
What you about to say, bro?
Hold on, Rudy. It's my story. Let me tell you. He get to Toronto, right? Boom, they interview him. Rudy, how does it feel playing with DeMar DeRozan? He said, yeah, this is one of the best two guys I never played with in my life. I said, what?
See, that was a shot, bro.
Am I invisible? Oh, man. I said, for now, it's Rudy K.
Yo,
It's Rudy K.
that's where our beef started, though.
That's a goal. Yeah, for we'll shoot for that Saturday. Be refereeing and a couple things here and there. But we'll try to get back. For before the marquee event. A little situation between two good guys. Tony Allen, Pride of Chicago, Rudy Gay, Pride of B-More. So a little between. Shout out to Sun Devil Kids. Sun Devil Kids, shout out. Yes, indeed. And good amount of things going on this week in the world of sports and otherwise. So SandCity in the building, you know, it's in September. So change of pace, change of gear. But the passion project remains. We have to do those things that you know, bring positivity and encouragement and creativity, so on and forth. So ain't going nowhere. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. SandCity.